Yes! Yes! Finally, after hours and hours of trying, he's dead. This is it. Did we get it? Oh my god. So nervous. Whew. Oh god. I think I've got it. The title of Big Boss, baby!
That one bullshit PlayStation trophy.
There were countless moments during my extreme Big Boss rank playthrough where I felt that maybe I couldn't do this, that this was a trophy that was just out of my reach, as this difficulty level seemed impossible to beat, especially with all of these restrictions on healing, killing, ammo, alerts, use of special items, time taken, and worst of all, saves. It's a brutally harsh difficulty where bosses can kill you in 1 or 2 shots, and when one wrong step can cause an alert and ruin your run. You can't kill anyone whatsoever, so bosses become way harder and longer as you have to slowly whittle down their stamina with the M9 tranquilizer pistol, and seeing as though you can also never get spotted, each room becomes a puzzle that needs to be solved first before you can get through it silently. For every move you make, the game has a reaction to it, and there are usually consequences. I could trank a guard to easily get past them, but will other ones see it? Or will someone call him on the radio and wonder where he is? I could shoot out that camera, but will a guard hear the shot? Or would I need those bullets for later? There's loads of moments like that, and it makes going for the Big Boss rank a rather intense and heartbreaking experience that will push you to your limits. These requirements for the Big Boss rank make this tough difficulty even harder, to a point where it's actually rather brutal and unforgiving. You can't use any rations, so you can never heal yourself. You can't kill anybody. You can only use a set amount of ammo, 700 shots, which, when you have to use about 200 on Ray, doesn't leave you with that many. You can have no alerts other than the 3 enforced ones. You can't use the infinite ammo wigs, bandanas, or the stealth camos. You have 3 hours to complete the game, and you have to do all of that only using 8 saves. Yikes. Yet for a lot of it, the game never really felt cheap, as a lot of times my failures were my own, whether it was just nerves, worrying about being so close to a save point after playing for 20 minutes, or just me fumbling the bag and doing something stupid. It was mostly always something I did wrong that I could have done better. So despite the many failures, each time that I did fail, I kind of learned something, be it a new tactic or just not what to do on that room. That would basically help me in my next attempt, where I would hopefully get past it that time. This Big Boss trophy is one that demands almost perfection from a player, and it really does make you feel worthy of the Big Boss title when you finally unlock the trophy, as by this point you have truly mastered MGS2. For me, it's a great trophy, as it was one that I was nervous about at first. Hell, I even thought about skipping MGS2 out of this Master Collection entirely because of this one trophy, but the thrill and challenge of getting it took over, and I was excited to try it, if a little nervous, and I ended up being totally engrossed in the game. And even when I wasn't playing it, I was thinking about this run and this trophy and whether I could get it or not, and I was watching YouTube videos of runs online on my phone, just itching for a chance to get back on and try out some of those strategies to try and get to my next save point. This trophy honestly taught me new ways to approach MGS2, which is pretty special considering how old this game is now. And it taught me new strats for bosses and optimal routes to take through the game. it challenged me to play this game in a completely different way, a much harder way, and one that I simply never bothered to before, as there was no trophy for Big Boss rank on the PS3 version. You just had to play extreme on and get the dog tags, but you could use all the stealth camos and everything, all the bonus items, so it was kind of easy. And while I do think having just 8 saves for this Big Boss rank is harsh, especially when Metal Gear Solid 1 and Snakey allow you for far more saves for their equivalent ranks, I still kind of guess it was enough, because I did it at the end of the day, though I will say losing a good 20 or so minutes of gameplay in between each save point when failing was just utterly heartbreaking, especially if it was just something out of nowhere that I didn't see coming, and then that save put me right back at a boss fight that I would then struggle to beat again for another hour or so. And yeah, I'm looking at you, fat man, you.
Jack, what's going on? Answer me! Jack!
So I think you can't really ask much more from a trophy, to be honest. Like this is a cool example of a good challenging trophy that it's tough, but it's doable. It is doable. But I will say, despite enjoying the playthrough and liking the challenge and how great it felt to finally beat it and see that trophy pop up, I did encounter my fair share of BS when attempting it, with some really annoying moments that caused me to fail runs and get rather angry and upset. So now I'm just going to highlight some of those annoying moments as I attempted to unlock the Big Boss trophy in Metal Gear Solid 2 Master Collection. So even though Olga was like only a couple of minutes away from the start of the game, it was still really frustrating dying on this Olga boss fight over and over and over again, because she only takes like 2 hits to kill you, and on a European Extreme it's just 1 hit, and it's just so easy to get shot here, and it was really awkward to try and pop out and shoot her with the crappy little trank gun before she just killed me, and having to replay the game from the very beginning again, and just to get back there to just die within like 3 seconds of the boss fight was just really frustrating. Getting past the tanker section, really, it just is the start of your problems, to be honest. And right away with Raiden, there's a really tricky bit at the start with those 3 guards that Snake has knocked out, because you've got to try and hit this one in like the groin to instantly stun him, so that you can then be in a position to be able to lure the other 2 guards around and get past them without them looking at you, so you can get up the lift. But that was like really hard, and I would always get spotted, and I'd have to try and sort them out and stop them from calling in support before the lift come down, and I could get away, and that would just take off loads of health from me straight away. And it was like, Christ, I've just got here, give me a break, man. This walkway here with the claymores on was also a real pain, and I failed on this section quite a bit because there's just a bunch of claymores there all the time, and some that I didn't even realise. And then later on, when I'd have to come back around this area, I'd end up walking over one and just getting killed again, or it would trigger an alert that would just end my run. And just something as cheap as that was just really frustrating to sort of fail on. This horrible parcel sorting room where there's a bomb that goes around these conveyor belts was also really horrible, and it was where I was forced to just save for the 2nd time, I believe, because I just kept failing here. So as soon as you enter, there's like a guard that's like right in front of you that will see you, and you have to stand at the doorway to try and shoot him. And then there's like 3 other guards in the room that you have to quickly take out, and then you have to get the bomb on the conveyor belt as it goes past and freeze it. Otherwise, you then have to run around and like chase after it. And there's like 3 security cameras in here that you also need to be aware of. And it was just an awful lot to do within a short amount of time, and it just constantly tripped me over. And like I said, it forced me to save here, which was earlier than what I wanted, so it made the rest of the run to the next save point harder. The Fortune boss fight is a weird one because you don't actually fight her, and trying to just survive her attacks on extreme was a pain because she's only really got to hit you once or twice and then you're just dead, and dying on those exploding barrels was just an absolute pain because half the time you're not really looking at them because you're just trying to like watch Fortune and to dodge her like lightning bullet things that come at you, and when you might not catch that the shot has like clipped the barrel, so you can't really tell that it's about to blow up, and it did catch me off guard a couple of times and make me jump when I just suddenly died out of seemingly nowhere, so that was a right pain. The Fat Man fight, oh my god, the Fat Man fight is probably one of the hardest fights in the bleeding game, and one that just took me ages to do, and because I'd saved just before the fight, every time I failed the section after it up to like the Harrier, I had to start this over again from here and beat Fat Man all over again. And honestly, this fight is just horrible because it can go from a 1 to a 10 like within seconds, because if he gets away from you and plants a couple of bombs, you're basically done for because you're not going to get enough time. And the fact that he can bloody hit you and hurt you when he just skates through you is just frustrating. The amount of times he killed me like that was just really annoying. I just really didn't like the Fat Man fight. The warehouse bit, when you have to go back and grab the AK, was also really finicky because you have to go really fast at a set route in order to be able to get into that room and out again without the guards seeing you, and whenever it just caught me out, I didn't really know what I was doing wrong, so that was a really frustrating bit to sort of fail at. The Harrier, oh my god. Okay, so the Harrier fight, it isn't that bad, but the machine gun fire that just goes on endlessly was really annoying. But one of the worst parts for me was when I died randomly, despite being in cover, hiding from all the missile strikes. For some reason I just got killed and then died. And then worse than that, when I finally beat the Harrier for the first time, I died on the leap of faith and had to instantly restart and do the fight all over again. God.
Right. Are you all right? Answer me. Right.
There was another bit just after that leap of faith that I would fail on quite a bit as well. This walkway here, when you climb up the ladder and you have these two guards in the windows. Eventually I figured a way to get through by just proning after that third window, but otherwise they would just constantly see me, and you can't shoot them either because then it just becomes an alert. It's just a really BS area in my opinion. Another annoying section of the game after that is where the president is in his cell, and when you have to shoot the Nikita missile launcher through the air vents to blow up the generator so you can go over that electric floor. And the only problem is the president's always in front of the thing, or when he's not there and he sees the missile, he runs back to the generator so you can't actually shoot it. It's just a pain, and dying there was just annoying. Then, after you get the aims and then you get spotted and you have to escape the building, you're supposed to go down up this lift back to the first floor, but there's always this guard right here at the door, and when I'd run out of the lift he would always see me, and that just cost me about 2 or 3 runs trying to get past him. In the end I just stayed in the lift and waited for him to walk in front of it so I could get him in a headshot, but even then it was still risky. I did not like that guy. He is like the worst placed enemy in the game for me. Vamp is a tough fight, and I had to use the cheese to just punch him constantly until he ran out of stamina, but that was really tricky and a really annoying bit to do. Thankfully I made my save just before that fight, but yeah, that was a really annoying bit. Oh, Emma and Raiden dying on a water mine after the Vamp bit. Getting clipped here by this mine, even though I feel like I was far enough away from it, was really frustrating. And then every other time I had to try and come past there, it was really tricky because it's just so awkward with the swimming controls to try and get yourself through this doorway. So annoying. And these guards here, after going through that compound, how did they see me? That was crap too. I feel like the sniper section would have been BS, but thankfully it doesn't matter if Emma is spotted, though that one mine there is really awkward to get, especially with the snipering controls. The next bit that was really painful was the Tengu hallways, because I made my save just after the prison cell bit, so I'd always have to come through here and go through that sword corridor every time I failed the Tengu hallways, and the only way I could get through these was using the glitches to get past them. But every time I try and throw a stun grenade, I would always get shot, and Snake would just drop the stun grenade at his feet, which would then just do nothing, or Raiden rather. So annoying. And then there's a section after that where you have to use the coolant spray. That was really BS. I don't know how you would get past those bits on extreme trying for the big boss run without doing those strategies. They just seem like these really obnoxious bits, because it doesn't even fill up your health when you get through to the second area, which I think it really should, because how are you supposed to do this legit? Because Snake, what he does shoot them, he dies really quickly, so I don't know how you would do that normally. That is just a crazy section of the game. The Metal Gear Ray fight, oh my god. This is definitely a BS part of the run, because you have to fight 20 of these before the fight ends, and well, they can just kill you really, really easily. And usually if you're not on top of things and getting it into this specific pattern to be able to get them all before they really attack you, you'll just get flooded with an endless barrage of missiles. And then there's that laser thing that could just kill you with one shot. They also shoot other missiles out at you that are really hard to dodge. Even if you cartwheel, you usually get clipped by it. There's just so many things that I didn't like about this fight. Like, if you accidentally miss with one of the Stinger missiles, it might just not let you fire a while, as that one just flies off into the distance, or you'll end up locking onto the wrong thing and the missile just flings around all over the place. And one of the things I didn't like at the start, after getting the three of them down and then moving away as the first one jumps on, he would always like do this foot stomp instead of this laser attack, and then that would just take me out of the pattern, and it was really hard to just get in it and stay in it. And I really didn't like this fight, to be honest. I thought this was a bit terrible. And the fact that you don't get a heal after the Solidus choke, which is directly on from the Ray fight, that is just really unfair as well, because it will just leave you with, or potentially could leave you with, a sliver of health. And thankfully I saved my final save just after the Ray fight, but that also meant that every time I failed Solidus, I was put back right there, and I had to do all of the choking and then skipping all of those long cutscenes and codec conversations again before I got to the Solidus fight again. So that was a pain. Speaking of Solidus, his fight is also horrible. Even though I was doing the three punches trick, it was still really hard. And when you have to fight against a really wonky camera that just doesn't show you much of a fight at all, and it's constantly spinning you around, and when you can easily get knocked off of the building by Solidus, and then you've got like the fire that he does when he slides around that can set you on fire, and you got to try and handle that. And plus all of the like collision detection jankiness when you're trying to punch him, it just becomes a really frustrating fight. And it was kind of an annoying way to end the big boss extreme rank playthrough, because this fight took me several hours before I could nail it down reliably enough to whittle all his health down without dying. But yeah, once it was over, my god, it felt good, because I'd finally beaten the game. But yeah, for me, those are some of the more BS parts of this run. But like I said, I did actually enjoy this playthrough and the challenge of getting this big boss rank for this big boss trophy. But yeah, it's definitely not without its flaws, but it's a cool, challenging trophy that gets you to play the game in a different way, and it pushes your skills to the limits, and it makes you better at the game. And I don't think you can ask much more from a trophy, really. It's just a shame that there's a few bits in this difficulty mode where it does kind of become a bit annoying. So yeah, it's kind of a hard one to rate, really, but yeah, we'll try anyway. So for those reasons I've mentioned, the Big Boss Trophy in Metal Gear Solid 2 on the Master Collection Volume 1 gets a BS trophy rating of